We have Gunnerman, whom I now draw an analogy with this Paul Pantone's work. I mean, he's mixing water with fuel, putting nickel catalysts in combustion chambers of cars and buses and everything else, and getting much more mileage. That's the Gunnerman process. Maybe Pantone will come into the fold soon. That's the SciX magnet, which scooter, it says powered by SciX magnet. To me, look, I don't know whether this is for sure real as far as its over unity ability, or whether the film, there's only two possibilities, as Chris Tinsley said. It's either fraud, which I can't imagine, but one of the two possibilities, either some sort of fraudulent demonstration on the videotape, not that Hal was part of, but that Takahashi concocted for us in his later days, or it's the real thing. It's one or the other. It's not just some misinterpretation. I mean, the battery was removed, for those of you who didn't see it, and the motor kept going, generating electricity through the alternator. The magnets have been measured. They are over 100 MGOE. So why would a man who has US patents and all sorts of other good things, why would he be concocting fraudulent schemes if he didn't really have it? I think he has it. But let's get the data finally first. Yeah, that's other examples in history have occurred. The Wright brothers were ignored for 5 years after they flew. It was only 1908 when it was acknowledged that they really had flown, even though they were flying in broad daylight. There was, on Huffman Prairie, read the book, read their autobiography by McGee or McAfee, something like that. The authorized biography of the Wright brothers, it is astonishing. It's almost a repeat, except you wouldn't think it would happen in this day of big media. You would think some of the journalists would break away, but I guess they didn't, and they're still pack mentality people. Goddard was ignored in his time when he launched the world's first liquid fuel rocket. And I studied nuclear rockets, and I have nuclear rockets on the brain. The Germans in World War II copied his work, and that led to the V2. And of course, we know it led to the whole space age. I'll just finish off here because I'm overstepping my welcome. This is how I see the whole thing. There's a hierarchy of heresies. You can't see that. Hierarchy of heresies. Cold fusion, this is proved. Excess thermal energy, nuclear scale. I'm not saying it's nuclear, but it's nuclear scale or beyond. When hydrogen isotopes, that's just proved. 100% certain. Zero doubt in my mind about that. Nuclear products at low level, generally non-commensurate with the excess energy, but we don't even know that. But it's certainly proved. That's proved. Cavitation-generated X-power, unless Jim Griggs has pulled off one of the biggest cons in history, that's proved. Heavy element transmutation at low energy, can you get low-level production? I think that's proved. Can you remediate isotopes? I think you can. I'm not as certain about that. Can we commercially produce isotopes? I strongly suspect we will be able to, because every technological process that starts off very small usually gets scaled up. And this is where cold fusion meets new energy. And I define new energy as energy that has nothing to do, apparently, with hydrogen isotopes. Over-unity motors, electric generators, and the like. I am pretty close to a true believer in those. And forgive me if I'm not a true believer yet, but I'm pretty close. I made some predictions back then, which came out pretty accurately. Back in '94, I said that there would be prototypes within 6 to 12 months. I was right, according to I didn't know it would be CT. Home heating system prototype, almost right, because the Patterson cell, quite frankly, you get 10 or 20 of those working together at a kilowatt, and you can heat your home in New Hampshire or anywhere, okay? Electric generator by December of '96, very likely in my opinion, but not certain. By the way, we've left out Randall Mills of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Let me tell you the inside information that we got by virtue of our studies. This is published in the latest issue. They have cells that have nothing to do with electrolysis. They just have no electric input power. They just heat it up, and they take the heat away, the electricity that heats it up, then they leave it there. Hydrogen is undergoing some catalytic reaction at the surface of a double catalyst, and they are melting steel with it. They had an accidental steel chamber meltdown at high pressure. Remember, no electric input power, just a cell that stays hot. They have 60 investors. They are going to come out, they say, their internal report, which was not marked confidential, it says that they hope to have a kilowatt electric generator within the next 9 to 18 months. And what can we say? It's happening. It's like the Piantelli device in Italy, too. There will be massive crow eating. The messengers will be blamed. The era of excuses begins, an attempt to rewrite history. They will not succeed because truth will out. We have too many good writers, far better than they are, writing about it. Those who've written against cold fusion already will be so demoralized they won't even have the heart to rewrite the story. Some of them will try, like the head of the American Physical Society Propaganda Office, Robert Park. He'll explain why he was such a buffoon these past few years. There will be a cold fusion powered car prototype by 2000. I think that's way off. It'll be much before then, whether it's a go-kart or whatever it is. Dennis won't admit this, but Dennis Cravens aspires to drive the little car from Cloudcroft, New Mexico, and park it in front of the patent office and call Harvey Barrand out to see it. Tokamak hot fusion program will be terminated. I was wrong on that one. Stupidity will go on for a long time. Okay, they will continue to get $240 million a year of your money for something that is totally useless. It will never be built. It could be built, but it will never be built. I hope they kill it in the coming year. I'm afraid of what's going to happen financially to oil companies, although perhaps we shouldn't be so concerned about that. They're not always the best actors. But there could be enormous chaos if this thing is introduced suddenly. Remember now, it's going to be a sudden arising now from the grave of an allegedly dead technology. And it's just going to hit like this, boom. And it only is going to take one media outlet, mainstream, not Infinite Energy or Fusion Facts, one of them to say, my God, it's real. Look at the implications. And that'll do it, my friends. Everyone will be able to see. And then the recriminations will start. The electric power grid will wither. Gradual end of all fossil fuel production. Probably within, I would say, if things go according to plan within the next 20 years or so, we can just plan on having no fossil fuel combustion at all, except for nice fires that we'll have in New Hampshire. You'll probably have to take a license out or something. No, I hope not. Phase out of fission power, 2 new books by me and others. Why MIT slept. And cold fusion is the mother of all anomalies. Will it be, not to quote Saddam Hussein or whoever said that other, mother of all, what was it, mother of all wars or something? Battles. Is that what he said? Okay. Will there be business as usual? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Widespread rejection of establishment science? I sure hope so. Now, it's not that, now let's be clear on this. I am a scientist and an engineer. I believe in the methods, the good methods used by science and the biotechnology, physics, and other communities. They do achieve very interesting understandings. The problem is that their threshold of acceptance is far too high. And the other problem is they have blinders on and they refuse to look at anomalies that totally upset the apple cart. They don't like that. Will there be increased acceptance of other anomalies? I think, and I hope so. A new metaphor will enter the language. And last but not least, we will have the sinking of the Titanic of the opposition to new energy and cold fusion.